IQ. He understands the sport. He looks at it in a mental sense. He knows what he needs to do.
And I said, yes, he did. He said, well, if Ray Leonard could beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler, then Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez.
Terence got a great chance to beat him, man. You know what I mean? Terence can box, Terence can move, Terence can punch. You know what I mean? Terence ain't gonna be doing like Skull.
Lennox Terence Crawford's harsh training for the Canelo bout astounds Lewis. He commends Crawford for his self-control and high boxing IQ, pointing out that when Crawford concentrates, he understands exactly how to win. Lewis emphasizes that this kind of preparation demonstrates Crawford's complete readiness for the task.
Stay at the top and be at the top. He moves very well. He's a very elusive mover, and his work rate is high.
I won't ask you who's going to win the fight because I know it's a question you've probably been asked a million times, but I will ask you, do you think this fight goes the distance, or do you think this fight ends inside the distance?
Interesting.
Brian Bomac McIntyre, Terence Crawford's trainer, has emphasized that his boxer is not being overwhelmed by the situation. Bomac claims that Terence is not under any pressure to compete in this momentous matchup with Canelo Alvarez. He clarified that Crawford has given this fight his whole attention, viewing it as just another obstacle in his illustrious career. Crawford is very aware of what must be done within the ring, Bomac underlined. He has been meticulous, methodical, and execution-focused in his preparation. Crawford is more concerned with establishing himself as the finest pound-for-pound fighter than he is with the significance of the situation. Bomac maintains that his fighter is prepared to shock the boxing world, both psychologically and physically.
No, I don't think there's no pressure on Terence because Terence gonna fight the way that he's used to fighting. So by saying all that stuff that Turkey say or anybody else say, that doesn't bother Terence not one bit. You know, we train for one way, the way we're gonna fight, and that's the way we won't get the job done.
When people talk about this fight and they talk about the outcome of the fight, the sort of narrative online is that, look, Terence was moving up in weight, but we all know Terence can crack. When that fight was made with Errol Spence, it was seen as a 50-50 fight, and in reality what it was one of the most destructive performances I've ever seen. Should fans be surprised if Terence could manage to stop Canelo?
I think that fans are going to be surprised when he dismantled Canelo. You know, the more time goes on, the more time Terence can settle into that weight, the worse it's off for the opponent.
The last one from me, because I know this time is now at that minute as you were talking, so I just had one more question. If he manages to get through Canelo Alvarez, does that cement his place on the Mount Rushmore of boxing?
You just answered the question.
Rhetorical.
Legendary commentator Larry Merchant drew a powerful parallel between the upcoming Crawford vs. Canelo clash and the iconic 1987 bout where Sugar Ray Leonard upset Marvin Hagler. Merchant sees Crawford in Leonard's role, the smaller, quicker, and more technical fighter going up against a naturally bigger, stronger champion. He believes the blueprint for victory already exists. Leonard outboxed Hagler using movement, ring IQ, and sharp timing, and Merchant argues that Crawford has the same tools to replicate that strategy. With superior footwork, control of distance, and the ability to dictate the pace, Crawford could outmaneuver Canelo just as Leonard did to Hagler. While many see size as the deciding factor, Merchant reminds fans that skill can overcome power, just as history has shown. In his eyes, Crawford is poised to make his own legendary mark following a familiar, proven path.
I asked the great Larry Merchant, I said, do you think Terence Crawford has a chance to beat Canelo Alvarez? And Larry said, Jim, did Ray Leonard get an official decision victory over Marvelous Marvin Hagler? And I said, yes, he did. He said, well, if Ray Leonard could beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler, then Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez. And I said, why do you say that? He said, same equation. Get in, get out. Get in, get out. Yeah. Over and over and over. He's got to figure the angles and the approaches that will allow him to step in, land to the body, or occasionally upstairs, and then get out. That's what Ray did so effectively against Hagler.
When talking about the fight, renowned trainer Buzzy Ennis made a daring statement. He maintained that Canelo Alvarez had previously displayed frustrated outbursts, especially when up against agile mobile fighters. Terence Crawford is the kind of boxer who can cause Canelo to lose patience, he cautioned. In contrast to opponents like William Skull, who lacked the technique to challenge Canelo, Crawford is an expert at setting up angles, delivering precise counters, and putting his opponents in awkward situations. Andes thinks that the fight will be about who can impose their rhythm more than about physical prowess. A career-defining victory might be possible if Crawford is able to frustrate Canelo.
And all that. If he can't touch you, you know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean?
Now, did watching that make you feel like Terence Crawford has better than a 50% chance? After watching, I know we've seen him against Lara back in the day, but now this is supposed to be a new and improved Canelo.
Yeah. I think, like I said, Terence got a great chance to beat him, man. You know what I mean? Terence can box, Terence can move, Terence can punch. You know what I mean? Terence ain't gonna be doing like Skull. Terence gonna fight you. You know what I mean? He's Terence from the streets, man. You know what I mean? He know what to do. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it, I think he's gonna wind up frustrating Canelo. You know what I mean?
So what's the right way? Because Skull was moving too much. Is as soon as he as soon as you turn him, then is that when you start firing off?
Well, see, the thing is, the right way, the way I would have my fighter doing is I'm boxing him, you know what I mean? And he coming at me, I'm hitting him, pop, 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 pop. And soon he gets set, I'll tie him up. Walking to the center. You know what I mean? We cruise to the ropes and do the same thing good. Keep on frustrating, hit with the jab, boom, boom. Keep on moving, but also hitting him though. You know what I mean? And he gets frustrated, then he let his guards down. And it's a good night.
Canelo Alvarez received a stern warning from boxer Bernie Thor, another important person in Crawford's camp. Canelo is designed specifically for Terence Crawford, he claimed bluntly. Bernie claims that Crawford's ability to read opponents and make adjustments in the middle of a fight is a perfect fit with Canelo's approach, which is strong, methodical, and somewhat predictable. He commended Crawford's intuition, self-control, and bravery, stating that his boxer possesses the abilities and bravery to win. Bernie made it apparent that Crawford's goal is to dominate, not just take part in a super fight. Crawford understands exactly how to win, he emphasized, and he would stop at nothing to get it.
Well, a lot of people are saying about Crawford's age, but, no boxing, no life, as Canelo would say. And Crawford still, in age, but he ain't took no punishment. He's cautious, he works hard throughout these years. So, of course you're gonna, you gotta count that in the factor. But in his heart and his mind and his spirit, he's still youthful about boxing. He loves boxing, and this is one way to get him up. He's a challenge guy. He loves a challenge, and Canelo is the biggest challenge you can get. We got to go up 2 weight classes, really 3 weight classes to get a guy like that. Hardest puncher, great counter puncher, tons of experience, undisputed champion, unified champion, a couple of divisions champion, and so we didn't get the Pacquiao or the Mayweather, but we getting Canelo, and nothing comes easy to Team Crawford, and expect us to look good on the 12th. Expect us to come out victorious September 12th.
We obviously just saw his fight against Skull, and people didn't obviously enjoy it, the back foot boxing from Skull and whatever, but what fight can fans expect from Bud? Because a lot of people think that it'll be similar to that or the Charlo fight or whatever like that.
The one thing about Crawford is he got guts. Them bums ain't have no guts. Them bums didn't want to win. Crawford want to win. That's it. It ain't about no belt. It ain't about nothing. You didn't sign the contract. We want to win, and he want to be the best, and he is the best. So that's what's going to be the difference. Crawford got guts. He got a fighting spirit. So when you see Crawford, he going to go in there and get busy with Canelo. Don't you even doubt that. You understand? You ain't never seen Crawford stay on the back foot in no fight in his life. You understand? He the type of guy to go get you. So expect him to go get him. We're going to do everything we can to him. We're going to do whatever we got to do. But one thing you can expect is Crawford is going to step to him. Because you can't beat Canelo going on the back foot forever. You got to go get him. You got to do something. And he better know Crawford is coming.
Crawford is looking for good sparring partners who can mimic the Mexican champion's style as a result of his preparation for Canelo. Lester Martinez, a skilled boxer with professional experience, is one of those names. Similar to Canelo, Martinez has been putting Crawford to the test throughout training by using pressure, strength, and ringcraft. Crawford has reportedly appeared well during these workouts. Sparring with opponents like Martinez guarantees that Crawford enters the ring completely adjusted to the size and strength of a super middleweight, allowing him to adjust to Martinez's power while displaying his signature counterpunching and accuracy.
preparation
Yeah.
from sparring. Like Terence being with Lester Martinez, he's about as good a concoction you could hope for as a sparring partner. I need a guy who can come forward with good timing, who's sharp, who got good power in both hands. Lester Martinez for Terence Crawford. If you're Canelo, I need a guy that can switch. I need a guy with length. I need a guy with power, with skill. He gets Darrell Valsaint, who's 6'1", 154. He switch hits, southpaw, mostly southpaw like Terence, but can switch. Good long. His arms are almost the exact same length as Terence Crawford. And he's a young 23-year-old good athlete. And then I don't know if Canelo's sparring with Marco Verde, who won the silver medal for Mexico, but Marco Verde would, again, 5'11", long arms, southpaw, can switch. I would think between Darrell Valsaint and Marco Verde, Canelo's getting awesome preparation. And then Terence with Lester Martinez. This is speculative, but someone did mention it to me on Twitter when I was talking about Canelo preparing with Valsaint. They go, well, Lester Martinez had to go home with migraines and pull out of a fight, and he was sparring with Terence Crawford. So, I mean, it's speculative, but you're like, wow, well, if you put 2 and 2 together, if he was getting migraines for sparring Terence Crawford and had to pull out of a fight because of it, then that must mean Terence Crawford is doing well in the gym.
This battle offers a stylistic clash that has analysts worldwide excited. Canelo Alvarez's methodical, booming approach has long been well known. Until he releases explosive combinations, he conserves energy by applying constant pressure. His uppercuts and body shots frequently overwhelm opponents. Terence Crawford, on the other hand, thrives on improvisation, rhythm, and continuous movement. He can fluidly change positions, rotate to create angles, and hit with unexpected accuracy. There is more to this battle than power versus speed, according to experts. It's a calculated move that undermines innovation. Crawford adds uncertainty and flexibility, while Canelo represents strength and strategy. One of the most interesting chess matches in contemporary boxing could result from this stylistic disparity.
Predictable. I think Canelo, he likes to go to the same combinations, quite repetitively, whereas Crawford is unpredictable, and despite him not having the size, it's the shots that you don't see that hurt the most, and maybe Crawford can hit him with some unexpected shit. And because of the repetitiveness of Canelo, maybe he can time him, maybe he can counterpunch with him, because Crawford is unbelievable at that. But I'm fascinated to see if Crawford has the power to get the respect of Canelo Alvarez, because when you don't, it's a long night. It's not nice. Like Crawford did well against Madrimov, and he won that fight for me quite clearly. But Madrimov was countering him. If you can counter the counter puncher, you can give them a lot of problems when they're not used to that. And Canelo can counter people really well. And as great as Terence Crawford is, we've never seen him in there with someone with the power of Canelo Alvarez. This is a different world of power. And look, maybe Canelo doesn't throw as many shots as he used to, and maybe Crawford might look at that and go, you know what, I'm going to try and outpoint this guy, not get into a war with him, but just show my boxing, genius and outpoint him and outland him. That's possible. It is. This is why this is such a fascinating matchup, man. We've been treated to some amazing fights. Usyk Fury, for example, this is another one of those mega fights on Riyadh season.
They had this little fracas. It looked kind of WWE to me, but we know Crawford is coming to try to win. That's his DNA. That's his nature. And I think that's what he will attempt to do. So it will be up to Canelo to show him moving up to this weight class was a mistake. Weight classes exist for a reason. So I really like what I'm seeing. Canelo getting young sparring partners in there. He probably is giving them advice and using them for their energy. It's like 50 Cent said in Hustler's Ambition when he said, I need you to hate so I can use you for your energy, right? He's using these younger fighters because Canelo was once the young, hungry fighter, right? And now he's using these younger fighters and sparring with them and working with them as he prepares for this. Now, I think there is something on the line for both fighters. Canelo, payday, you'll want the payday, I know that. And also Terence Crawford. But this, especially for Canelo Alvarez, he's not going to want to lose this fight because it's a smaller person. I think it'll be more embarrassing.